Basketball is sort of my first sports love as an adult. Even non-sports fans can usually tune into a basketball or a soccer game because ultimately the rules for them are really simple. Take the ball to the net and put it in. And naturally, there are video games that let you live out these wild sports fantasies of being a star athlete. But NBA 2K24 just kind of sucks.
Basketball.
There are basically no other basketball video games other than NBA Live that have even come out in the last decade. And for the record, 2K's gameplay isn't particularly all that bad. It definitely takes a certain level of skill, especially with the new pro play technology that they've implemented this year. And kind of like Dark Souls, if that's your analogy, you do have to learn to anticipate certain moves from players so that you can prevent them from scoring or so that you can score yourself. You know, like real sports. So no, I'm not going to talk about the gameplay today because it's basically not even changed that much in the last 7-ish years, barring micro adjustments that they've made that have ultimately rendered the product a lot worse for wear because of all the animations that are conflicting with one another. I have a whole hour-long video that I want to make in my back pocket that is basically about the declining state of sports video games and how they keep getting worse over the years. But no, today I just want to complain about this game. See, unlike the gameplay, the thing that has changed over the last 7-ish years has been the online play component and the complete and utter focus on it. And to be fair, there are plenty of games out there that are online focused that have lots of great matchmaking, fair enough markets for everyone to enjoy their experience and time online. NBA 2K24 doesn't care about your fun. They just want your money. Post-2017, online functionality for video games has radically shifted away from simply allowing players to play with their friends in a map like a Halo 2 or whatever, and has turned games into entire economies. Sure, you're still logging in to form parties and play, but now there are tons of unlockables, exclusive item drops or weapons, different skins for players or their guns or profile banners, and all of them are unlocked with virtual currencies, whether they be literally called VC, V-Bucks, whatever they want. You can't even play an online game now without having some crazy-ass store menu being thrown in your face. And look, I'm not going to shame anyone for pumping extra money into these games. I'm guilty of it too in a few different things I love to play, like the show, or even Pokemon Go, so my wife will stop nagging me about gym raids. But that being said, this is disgusting. Why do I gotta run around doing quests in a basketball video game? Why is there so much space between all of these different locations? Why is there not one, not two, not three, but 4 optional street ball and practice facility places that I have to physically run to? Why does the game crash every time I just try to turn the camera? Why, in my career mode, are my in-game father and grandfather that I'm supposed to be the prodigy of, why are they black even though I am white? Look, I don't mind at all, but like, does that mean I'm adopted? What a compelling narrative. It's like Mike, baby. I hate NBA 2K's online system so much that it essentially ruined the entire experience for me and any hope that I had of enjoying the game. I don't even really know where to start complaining about all the crap that I'm seeing. Really quickly, for those that don't know, NBA 2K really is just a basketball game. They have 2 online modes that are meant for your enjoyment. There's My Player and My Team. My Team is a much more straightforward experience. You go and you collect cards that represent real NBA players and you take them into different offline and online games. There's tons of agenda items for you to unlock extra rewards when you complete specific criteria and you collect new cards. Standard stuff. Now there is way too much offline grinding to collect some of the good cards, and there are outrageous prices for them in the market, but we're going to come back to that. If this is the game mode that you want to pump your time and your energy into, then I mean Godspeed to you, but there is a much bigger issue for us to talk about that is pissing me off about this game. And to get into the meat of it, we got to go and talk about the city, My Player, and My Career, because that's where we as consumers and lovers of this sport are not only being manipulated, but we're being robbed blind. And basketball as a culture is suffering for it. 2K has been doing some form of this since 2014 when they first introduced the park, a thing that would grow into the neighborhood and eventually the city. The concept at face value is a great idea. Take your My Player that you make for the single-player story mode experience and send them into online play in a way that perfectly mimics streetball culture of going to the blacktop and jumping into a random game with strangers, friends, or whomever else wants to play. But in this game, there is no ranked matchmaking. And not only will I get rocked the hell on the court, but if I wanted to play in the rec or the Pro-Am circuit, try to run 5v5, I'll just be a liability unless I'm running with people my level. Possibly to, again, mirror the culture of street ball or just blacktop ball in general and the I got next mentality. The only way to join a game is to join a queue. But the only way to match up with people that are the same level as you is to form a party with them, and then you also have to match up with people that are the same level as you opposite, which is a lot of coordination. How are you supposed to play this game online when you aren't at least 90 overall or have a ton of like-leveled friends? And hell, even for the people that are high enough level, like a 90 plus overall, there is no system in place for them to get in a solo queue where they actually get a good team together. So they might go to the Rec or the Pro-Am League or anything like that, and if they go in the solo queue, they might wind up on a team that's exclusively centers and point guards, which looks ridiculous like this. You've basically already got to be a 90 overall to have any place on these courts, because otherwise there is no online for you. Now, maybe that's restrictive thinking, but hear me out. In literally my first game of my team mode, I got my ass whooped by somebody that had this throwback Blake Griffin card. And reminder, I'm someone who's pumped in 2,000 plus hours to this series. See, this is where we got to talk about money and how fucked up this game really is compared to games of the past. Let's take a deeper look at that Blake Griffin card, which is a card from my team mode, which is technically the secondary form of online play here. If you go to the pack market, where you can find different packs to buy with different players and different equipment, you'll find that Blake Griffin is part of the Perfect Build card series. Now, there are different ways to earn these cards and packs so that you can open them up and get cards from this series, but if you don't have 24 hours plus to play this specific game mode for the chance of it, and especially for a 2% chance of getting Blake Griffin or one of the other cards in that tier, it is so out of league to grind for that. At the time of recording this, you'll notice that you can basically buy a 10-pack bundle from this series for 142,500 virtual currency or 199,000 My Team coins, which, I mean, holy shit, that sounds like a lot of currency. Don't worry, it gets way, way worse. Luckily, you can go buy virtual currency or those My Team tokens if you don't already have any currency yet and you really wanted that specific card. All you need to do to get that much to afford that one card is 50 real-life dollars. Now, you could always go unlock that individual player by himself from the pack market. All you have to do is spend 125,969 virtual currency. Woo, what an improvement. If you take the straight virtual currency purchase that you can make and you even it out to where that value is between the values you can buy, they're basically valuing this one card at 33 real life US dollars. Or how about this Luka Doncic card? Luka Doncic is my current favorite player on my favorite team. I am a dive-hard Mavs fan for life, so naturally I would want this card on my team. But this card is worth 355,320 virtual currency, which if we go ahead and do the same exercise and we round it up to where the real world currency is based on this VC, is essentially approximately $75.
I will send you to Jesus.
This isn't a video game. This is an NFT scam. The first person I played had this Blake Griffin card. How much time, money, or energy do they have to put in to get that card? And why am I, with my piss poor team, playing them in game one? But let's jump back to my player again, because that's where most people are going to tell you to go to earn VC by grinding out the story mode. For each game you play in my career mode to improve your my player, you can earn upwards of 1,000 VC per game. And if you play a full game, by the way, that's like an hour. There are plenty of ways to earn VC at a time. You can complete the city quests, use the daily spinner if you've already joined an affiliation, play my career, and grind. But I'm sorry, we're gonna do some more math. I bought the special edition of this game for $85 because it was on sale and I was hoping for a good experience. And with it, I was granted a few unique items and 100,000 virtual currency to start my journey. I pumped all of that into my player right away, and it only got them up from a 60 to a 75 overall, which, as stated, I cannot play online like that in any meaningful capacity with these people that are already 90s overall. So what the hell? I can either grind for days on end to level up my player to 90, or if I want to enjoy the online experience, then I'll need about 200,000 more VC, equivalent to approximately 50 real-world dollars on top of this already $70 game, of which I paid 85. A game, I'll remind you, has barely been out a month. I can't reallocate my stats into a different build like you can in something like Elden Ring. I can't even carry over any of the VC from previous games, even though it's virtually identical. Hell, you can't even carry over any of these NFT-ass clothing items or accessories from other games, even though, again, they are the same thing. This is so messed up. I play MLB The Show, and their consumer model is way more forgiving and generous than this crap. I bet even Madden fans would be willing to call out the garbage that this is, especially if not for the gameplay, at least for the stupid-ass cityscape that you have to keep running through. Hell, we don't have to stay in the sports realm for this. Let's just go to Fall Guys, the kiddiest of all kiddie games that has very little content compared to this, and realize that their Fame Pass really only costs about $20, and you can unlock all the goodies of that season. And that game is free! Look, NBA 2K is a nightmare, and there's no coming back, especially when you look at all the money that they're making. The gameplay is just fine, but the amount of time that it takes you to even get into one online game that is appropriate for you, or even load into a My Career game, is completely appalling. At least I know why Sir Charles never wants to be featured in this damn game.
That's terrible.
In addition to the crazy amount of money, time, or both you have to pump into this game, consider that you also have to have a real life. Even the most spoiled of teenagers still has to go to school, and even the most dedicated hooper or sneakerhead adult has to have a job of some kind to afford this. But what are the rest of us supposed to do who don't want to dedicate every second of our lives to this game? Where are we supposed to turn for basketball games outside of pulling NBA Jam out of our storage? The most insidious thing about this game isn't that it just requires all of your time and or money, but that 2K is clearly making bank off of our misfortune. Take-Two Interactive, 2K's parent company, reported in November of 2022 that they made an estimated total of $1.4 billion in revenue just for that quarter, on top of their projected $5.5 billion for the whole year. And even though I don't have dedicated figures for it, there is evidence out there that a strong cut of that revenue is coming from this game specifically. And by the way, something that probably isn't even being publicly included in these reports is the fact that as you walk around this ridiculous ass city, there are so many brands that are thrown in your face. Jordan, Nike, Adidas, Puma, Dick's Sporting Goods, Gatorade, Ruffles, State Farm? All those companies are paying, at least in some capacity, to be a part of this game because they are officially branded partners of the NBA. There's even in-game advertising and a whole in-game ecosystem in the form of NBA 2K TV. Who is this for? I don't need to go into it because there are a ton of videos and Reddit posts about how this game is basically operating on a free-to-play model, but they're still having the audacity to charge you $70 every year for it. And everyone still rightly complains about how we're feeding into this game's success. We buy the new game, we buy all the new gear, we spend the money on the virtual currency. Basketball across all forms of entertainment is becoming a rich man's endeavor. I live in the Bay Area and I absolutely love the Warriors, but if I want to take my wife to go see a game and just buy 2 of the cheapest tickets available on this random November game, it's basically going to cost me $148 after processing fees. Never mind the fact that we have to transport to the game, and it would be nice to have a snack or a drink while we're there. So if you factor in all that, that's basically, after everything is done, $250. Hell, even if you go to the Charlotte Hornets and Washington Wizards game, and these are 2 teams that are objectively not going to be very good this year, and you go to a comparable couple of seats in a comparable game and comparable everything, you're still looking at about $100 just for the tickets alone. In this insidious, disgusting video game, for basically the same price as one live-action Warriors ticket, you can afford one virtual Luka Doncic card and a rank by your name that neither of them even carry over into the next game. Please, if you're watching this and you're a fan of NBA 2K, stop buying this game. It is not worth our time and our money for a game that has barely improved its gameplay and just keeps crashing on me as I try to buy all their random products in this MetaQuest ass world. I know that we have no other options, but please, just go spend this money on watching a real life game with your friends and having a memorable experience. And if this is somehow reaching a developer or someone who actually worked on this game, just know that I am so sorry you have to spend your time and passion working on these NFT-ass items and cosmetics rather than actually improving the gameplay, which is probably what you grew up loving and why you started this in the first place. So thanks for watching this sad little rant. I promise the next video is going to be fun on Mario Wonder or Assassin's Creed or something like that, and it'll be way more fun. I wanted this game to be good, but instead I was just reminded that the true final boss of every game, including real life, is capitalism. Please subscribe, like, share, and yeah, screw 2K. NBA Street is still the GOAT. Hell, I'll take Street Hoops over this for its soundtrack alone, man. Jesus.
Showing no respect.
You cannot transfer here or there. You cannot transfer anywhere. You cannot transfer trashy merch. You cannot transfer hard earned work.